Hello, I'm Lino Camprovid. This is the Zotero Fest 2024. So we are here in Sevilla in the DeepMed office, and we are in charge this year of organizing ICHO's Zotero Fest. ICHO is the International Commission for the History of Oceanography, which, as Pablo will later expand, belongs to the UNESCO, and it has a wonderful library of all kinds of resources regarding the history of oceanography, but also anything aquatic. And we are going to, this week, basically update it, organize it, and so on. And we are going to do it here in this office, but also with the help of other ICHO members and friends of the community. How are we going to do it? I think it's going to be Pablo's job to tell. So here is Pablo Lima, who is writing a wonderful dissertation on the Mediterranean. That's what we do in DeepMed, Mediterranean stuff. Pablo, the floor is yours. Thanks.
Thank you, Lino. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope this briefing may be helpful for you to work with us during this week. So I'm going to talk in behalf of our team, basically, of the work we've prepared for us to work together during this Zotero Fest. So first of all, what I'm going to do is just introduce to with what we've prepared, and it's a follow up on what Bea and the team of the 2022 Zotero Fest team did, which I'm not going to review thoroughly. I will just basically give you the reference, which is in the ICHO website, and there you can check for the video in which Ellen Rosarowski and Beatriz Martinez Rios they explain what the Zotero Fest of 2022 was all about. But what we're doing here is to build on that and to basically work through their categories and work through what they were doing. So what we've prepared is a list of tags and tasks for Zotero for you to complete during this week, and I'm going to explain it. It's very simple, but it needs a bit of perhaps explaining further than what's already in the documents. The documents, by the way, have been shared to all of you. Both the documents, the task and tax document and the announcement, they have been shared to you by Lino. So basically, let me share if I can the tax and tax document. Um, okay. Uh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So okay.
So okay, pretend that this never happened and then start from here and then we'll cut it. You're
Yeah.
happy
Sure.
with that? Okay,
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
thing.
Fine. So basically, our aim with the new proposed list of tags and tasks is to exploit Zotero's potential for teamwork, for organize your own bibliography, and to make it useful for the community. Because remember, this is a community library for the history of oceanography. So we all our efforts are targeted towards bringing people's expertise and bibliographies together. So I hope that our proposals satisfy that. Um, so uh, I'm not going to read all of the tasks because basically it is already shown there, and it is for you to check it every time you had any doubt. But I'm going to give us a reason why we did it that way. So first of all, as I said, we relied on what Beatriz and the team had done before. So that means that we also think that it's important to avoid any kind of ambiguities, any kind of repetitions, any kind of redundancies in the already existing tags. And then you can see that there's little subtleties that you have to correct by making your own choices. So, for example, if you find there's a repetition with capital letters, there's a repetition with names, there's a repetition with differences between American and British English, and this kind of little details, then you have to make a choice of which one, of course, you decide to keep. But just try to be sensible about the decisions make. But as I said, that's what has been done before, and we have to keep up with those efforts. But our new proposal is basically to introduce the categories from the UNESCO Thesaurus, since our ICHO group belongs to UNESCO. So it's interesting to put these categories, these disciplinary categories of the UNESCO Thesaurus, to make them operational and make them useful for us. So the UNESCO Thesaurus is already defined there, but basically is the most up-to-date and internationally recognized catalog of disciplinary categories and research topics from the humanities to all the sciences, natural sciences. So the idea is that you basically, by accessing that catalog, try to find categories that you think that may be suitable for our library, and that is the overarching task of this week, to use this UNESCO Thesaurus to classify our own literature. But of course, that has to match the pre-existent tags and the pre-existent literature. So that means that every time you find a mismatch between the categories you draw from the UNESCO Thesaurus and the ones that are already in the library, try to make a wise choice. That's up to you. But if you have any doubt, because our proposal is to introduce this UNESCO Thesaurus, try to stick to what the UNESCO Thesaurus says. And well, we have a lot of examples actually. Maybe in our shared document we can roll down a bit to see our new. Yes, exactly. So first, let's go first to the tags. So the tags that were already existing, we've just kept them as they were. Then we've introduced tags from the thesaurus system that are in red, and you can check them down there for some of them. Um, yes. So for example, this is one of the examples of UNESCO categorization and subcategorization of disciplines that we think that may be interesting to introduce to our to our already existing list of tags. So remember, this is to some extent your choice to draw from the literature from the thesaurus the categories you think you're interested in. Maybe there's no literature yet related to these topics. Maybe there's already literature, but the idea is to make our own ICO working categories and the ones from UNESCO kind of work together. And then, of course, there's room for every one of you to come up with new literature, new ideas, new bibliography. So in blue, we've added some categories that don't belong to the UNESCO Thesaurus. So we're proposing the UNESCO as a reference system, but we're not limited to it. We can still come up with new categories. So for example, in our case, since we're a working group in the history of the Mediterranean, we came out with some categories that were not listed about the different geographical landforms of the Mediterranean. So the Eastern Mediterranean, the Western Mediterranean, the Strait of Gibraltar. And the idea is that every one of you, alongside the UNESCO Thesaurus, can come up with new ideas for this Thesaurus. And well, we will be available. So Ada, maybe you can go again to the list of tasks. Each one of the DeepMed members has been appointed a task, and that means that we are available for every one of you to ask us what the task is about or any other kind of doubt. So we'll try to be available throughout the week. And well, I think that is all for the moment.
Okay, thanks a lot, Pablo. I think this is a good opportunity to ask questions if anyone in the room has them. I have one. If we added new items, how do we avoid redundancies with what there is already in the library? So I don't know, I think you already mentioned that there is every new item, because folders don't seem to be very important. What matters for finding items is tags. So we've created a folder that is added in 2024 Zotero Fest. Everything goes there. How do we check that the item is not already in the eco library if we add a new item?
Okay.
So
So
Zotero
I've
should
tried.
Zotero does it automatically,
Zotero
except
shows you that you have duplicate, what is the word?
Yeah,
duplicates.
You have duplicates, yeah, it shows it.
okay, provided that the metadata are the same, so that you have introduced your data, well, it will.
If you have all the information about the resource, it should be, yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions in the room? Jit, go ahead.
So this the same question I had before, like, am I supposed to focus on adding tags now, or is it adding new stuff? Because you described the task, but you don't really describe what the task is. So tomorrow I open my computer, what would be best for me to do?
So you can choose one of the tasks and just do it and let us know, and we can add your name to that, basically. So the next thing for you to do is the one you find more useful, basically.
Wait. None of the tasks is specific enough for me to do anything at this point.
No, I think so. First of all, let's clarify the distinction between tags and tasks. The document is called task and tags, yeah, and there are some tasks which are basically already given to certain people. If you want to contribute to them, you can ask, but there is no need. I think the main point is to add new material and so the responsible of each task is already provided in that document, but but anyone can contribute to them, and they are specific in the sense of task 1, add new tags, avoiding conflicts with existing tags. So the responsibles for that are Alberto and Pablo. Yeah, it's not that you need to do.
Okay, so that's not me.
That's not you. But if Alberto and Pablo realize as the week goes that that's too much, which I don't think because we've already thought about it, then they can ask other people for help. Or if you think, hey, I have an idea for a tag which is not in the list of tags.
Yeah.
And you go ahead and you add it directly. Yeah, just making sure that there are no overlaps. That's
Sure.
it. Yeah.
Wow.
But anyone can create new tags. Yes, and then sorry, I'll in a second, but the second task, check existing tags to avoid repetitions. That's Pablo and Lino, so Pablo and myself. But again, if somebody finds something as they are scrolling or whatever, they can let us know, or they can change that, they can correct it directly, yeah? And then task 3, reviewing existing entries, items to make sure they are complete enough. That's Maria, Aymen, Ada. That's a lot because there are lots of entries. So anyone who enters an entry should make sure from the onset that the entry is well entered. But you can also, I mean, the 3 of you can also scroll and see if you find something big. And then task 4, add new items. That's a task for everybody, not only in DeepMed, but also in ICHO. And again, the main point of adding new bibliographies that is relevant to the library and that it's correct in format.
So how do I decide what to add? I mean, I saw that video of last time today, and there they had a very clear, like that couple of lists of things that needed to go in there.
Yeah, because they are already in there. We didn't need to do that. So
what do I add?
You add whatever you find is relevant and is not there. Yeah, like I just added 12 items that I have in my last article, which I haven't found in the eco library. If you have something like that, that's good. Yeah, these are, by the way, questions that will also go into the video that we're sharing because they are relevant to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, yes, I wanted to add that anything that's been published after June 2022, even if it's the most relevant item to this library, is not going to be there, basically because this is a periodical updating of the bibliography. So that is a very straightforward way to contribute to the library. Choose from your own library on History of Oceanography the latest items and just add them to the library. And then, of course, broadly speaking, you can add whatever you think suits the library.